into Trail Boss. I'm your host, Whitney Winter-Smith. Joining me in studio today is Mason Winter, and we are talking to Sixto Paiz. He is an LMA 2021 Top 10 finalist and Rookie of the Year, as well as a 2022 Top 10 finalist. We're so excited to have you joining us today. Sixto, can you tell us how you got started in auctioneering?
Sure. Let's see. I didn't start out like everybody else did. I had one person in my life that was an auctioneer. It was my uncle. He sold for a real prominent auction company, and he passed away in 2012. And at his funeral, I met a few of his the guys that he worked with, some auctioneers, and I was working the oil field at the time, and I'd worked there for 3 years or so. And just like everything else, whenever the oil price drops, things get pretty tough. And they called my 25-year-old self in there and said they'd give me $25,000 if I quit. And so I said, well, that sounds like a pretty good deal to me. So I took the severance package and had nowhere else to go. So luckily I met two gentlemen at a very young age, and I got to know them after my uncle's funeral, Greg Highsmith and John Corey. I got to know them guys pretty well, and they directed me in the direction of where I was supposed to go and how I was supposed to get started. And just like everybody else, I went to auction school thinking I'm going to leave here and it's all going to be roses. And I was completely wrong. I started out at a car sale. My first job was ringing the floor at a car sale. And I learned really quick, when it comes to opportunities, you don't really say no. So I got a phone call from a buddy who said he's a car auctioneer and has been for a long time. And he said, hey, have you ever sold cattle? And I said, sure. Never having sat behind the microphone at a cattle barn before. So I said, yeah, sure. So I went to Floydada, Texas, and I covered a guy named Ed Bynum. Ed's still around. I give Ed a lot of credit. I got to learn behind him for a while. I got to sell a fall run with Ed. But I went down and I got my teeth kicked in West Texas for a while. And out of that, I got a barn in Big Spring, Texas. And I sold at Big Spring for 6 years. I just recently let it go. They moved sale dates from Friday to Wednesday, and already had a Wednesday sale. But I got they say you break your teeth, but I got my teeth pretty kicked in West Texas, to say that's where I got my start.
I was saying, you're kind of all over the place now, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Mondays I get up 3:30, 3 o'clock, and I leave my house in Portales, and I go sell in Clinton, Oklahoma, and then drive back to West Texas, and I get a hotel there in Lubbock, and I go sell for Abilene Livestock. And then I still working the car sale on Wednesdays. I've been with them the longest, thank goodness. Without them, I think I was a plumber while I was trying to get my start. So I think I might have got my journeyman's by now, but yeah, I was doing that. And then
seems like a better career path.
Yeah, it's a lot better. I think so.
A little cleaner.
And then, yeah, for sure. Well, kind of. Sometimes
certain days.
Exactly. Depends. And now today I just got done selling woodward, and I'm on a roadside park in Canadian, Texas, talking to y'all.
Amazing. Such a great start and such a grind too in the beginning. How does that translate into where you're at now?
You appreciate a lot more of the things. I mean, starting out, it was tough. I mean, I was greener than Gordon. I'm still green. I'm still young. I don't have a world championship title by my name. So that's why I really look forward to going to Dodge. And whenever it came back up, I called Mason right away, and I was like, put me in. And he's like, hey, we don't know how many we're taking yet. And I said, I don't care. Just put me in. And, but to now like I was listening to Kenny's interview earlier. He's right. I mean, he drove 1,300 miles. I average 18 to 2,000 miles a week is how far I drive.
Goodness.
It's a lot of windshield. It's a lot of windshield time for sure. So, but I love it. I wouldn't do anything else. I tell everybody I drive for a living. I just sell for fun. And that's what it relates to at the end of the day.
What do you do on those drives?
When I started out, I created a playlist, and I thought, that's, I'll just listen to music all the time. Well, I've worn that thing out. I can't listen to any more music. I'm a big Boston Red Sox fan, so I listen to their games when they're on. Thank goodness for Sirius XM. Other than that, I mean, there's really nothing else you can do. It's just drive. It's a whole lot of just road.
Yeah, especially through West Texas. There's not a lot to see going that way.
No, there's not. Y'all have the golf tournament, and my wife called and she goes, "Do you want to get in the golf tournament?" And I'll hit dirt clods all day long because that's what we have out in New Mexico, but I'm not very good golfer. So yeah, we get a whole lot of just plain dry ground. That's all I see.
Mm-hmm. So after going through some of these competitions, what do you have advice-wise for a kid that's looking to come up in through it?
The first year I went was at Holdenville. The first year, I think I was 18. I can't remember. COVID messed me up with skipping a year, but 2018, I went second. I went second out of the box. Didn't know how I didn't know, what to do or expect of anything. And I got to sit there and I got to watch everybody, and I got to watch the rest. I think there was 30 some odd contestants that year. And I got to watch everybody go, and there's really nothing just sit down and soak it all in. I mean, if you can go watch one and kind of get your feelings around, I guess, get to understand what really goes on. And those you're competing against, if there's 30 of them, put them in a box and throw them out. You're competing against 30 great guys, and the way they come out could fall either way.
What would winning that world championship mean to you?
It'd be a huge accomplishment. I mean, you're up there with guys, like I said, not being really in the cattle industry or being in a livestock market growing up. I watched those guys. That's how I based my chant was off of a DVD that John Corey sent me. And I listened to that thing till I'm pretty sure I wore the sticker off the cover. And guys like John Corey and Roger Emig and Kenny Wilcox, and meeting Kenny last year was all I could have left after that. Kenny's such a great guy. And then you get guys now like Chuck Bradley and Jacob Massey and those guys that are coming up, and Will Epperly this year that won it. Just being in that lineup, every year, Chuck said in his farewell speech this year, your name goes on your audio goes on a clip on the WLAC website. And I think that's the coolest thing, is that you get to be in a group of guys. It's really just, that's top tier stuff right there in the world champions. And to be in that group, even to compete at the King of the Ring and to sell along guys like that, and top 10 finishers and world champions, and Chuck Bradley and Russell Sleep. And last year, Will Epperly won it, and this year he won the world. And it just makes you better. Iron sharpens iron, and to compete against those guys, it just makes I'm just happy to be there. So to win the world it'd be great. It'd be a good accomplishment. Something I think I could hang my hat on for a while.
What do you do to prepare to win?
I don't know how everybody else does it. I get up at 3:30 on Monday, and I leave and I go sell, and I start my routine for the week. So I make sure that whenever I start a competition, that's exactly what I do. I mean, I don't wake up at 3:30. I'll sleep until 4, but I'll wake up and
wow, getting some big sleep. Okay.
Big sleep. I don't eat breakfast during the sale day. I usually don't eat till after I'm done, but I might drink 5-6 cups of coffee. And then that's what I do. I just try to keep it just like I would every other day, every other sale day. I try to keep the same routine if there is one. And I think that's all you can do. Other than that, it's sitting in the box and just letting it rip. I got my start in West Texas, where I sold about 5 or 6 of the sharpest guys I think I could ever sell to. And they kicked my teeth in. I was green, and they didn't let me forget it. So as long as they don't show up at one of these competitions, I'm pretty relaxed.
Got the worst of it behind you already.
Oh, the worst of it's behind me. I don't have to sell to those guys again.
Sounds like a lot of consistency.
Yeah, it's try to keep it the same. It's at the end of the day, you're still working for a consignor. You're still working for a market. You're still trying to do your best and market these people's cattle that they put so much work into. And whether it's a competition or not, if it's a competition, then of course you're supposed to be driving the price higher, and just do your best part about, keeping the market steady or higher than it was before you got there, and leaving it better than whenever you got there, leave it better than when you found it. And I just try to soak it all in and sit down and just have fun, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about having fun and just doing the best job you can. So as far as preparing for a competition, I think it's just, just keeping the same routine as I do every day.
What are kind of the first things when you step into one of those new barns with new customers, new markets, new buyers, everything? What do you try to establish, that first draft or two to kind of get yourself settled in there?
The first, right. They call it catching the groove, I guess is what they say. You got to catch that groove. Usually sometimes it takes 1 to 2 drafts, like what you're saying. You try to just find that groove as quickly and as rapidly as you can, because you have 8 to 10 drafts to really show yourself and your talent. So to really catch that groove, immediately it's, sit there, look at the cattle, try to look at the weights. I mean, a lot of the times I don't even have time to sit there and look at the screen. I mean, I'm trying to just focus on what I'm doing, and it's the quicker I can find the groove, the better. But as far as trying to figure out and feel comfortable about it, just make sure the chair's the right height, I guess, because, I sold this year in Chipshawana, and I didn't feel like I didn't get really comfortable in the box because I couldn't get the chair to go down. But everyone said I looked pretty relaxed, so I guess that was okay.
Fake it till you make it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's all I could do, for sure.
We'll make sure to have an adjustable chair ready for you once you get out there.
Yeah, please do. It's all about comfort.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's important in getting settled in. I think, part of the just being present and really feeling that moment.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like you it sounds like you do that, or try to the best of your ability when you're out there competing, and probably in your day-to-day too.
Yeah, I try to make it light. I mean, we all have to work. It's all a job for everybody else. The more fun you can have and the more fun everybody else has, the better the market is, in my opinion. I mean, it comes down to a time of just getting to work and being in the grind and getting it done. But if we can do it and have fun at the same time. I mean, I was watching last year's run from Dodge, and Brian was sitting there next to me, and he was laughing, and we were sitting there like talking back and forth, and it really lightens your mood, and it really puts you in a comfort zone that's why I wanted to come back. And as soon as I seen the entries open up, I was all over it. I was like, I got to go back.
I think Kenny got his in, but you were the second one. Kenny was within 5 minutes of posting it, and you were about 10.
He was Kenny. So selling in West Texas, we don't sell big drafts in West Texas. It's 1 by 1.
Mm-hmm.
We'll sell my first barn in Big Springs. We'll start at 11:30. And we'll sell 1 by 1 till we're done. I mean, it could go anywhere from 11:30. I think the longest I sold was from 11:30 to 5:30 the next morning.
Oh, and, my gosh.
So when I sat down in Dodge and I go behind Kenny, and I'm sitting there watching Kenny Wilcox, and you hear Kenny. I've heard Kenny 1,000 times because I've listened to him 1,000 times, and he breaks down to a dime immediately. And I'm like, well, I'm way out of my element because I don't sell anything close to a draft or a load lot, So, it was a great experience. And luckily now I've got a little bit more underneath my belt of selling some load lots. I'm not so out of my element. So Kenny better watch out. I might break down to a dime
He's
too.
coming for you this year.
Yeah. Okay. He's a good guy.
Yeah, absolutely. He is. I'm sure some of those yards that you've got added onto your list this last year have kind of helped you get used to selling load lots and everything. And you might be somebody to watch out for this year.
No, I'm just there. I mean, of course you want to win it. Like Chuck said, you don't enter anything else without wanting to win it. But, man, it's just real fun to compete. I just love to compete. It's a fun thing to do. I just got to have a very competitive spirit. Showed animals growing up, rodeoed, played football. Now that I'm an adult, I guess, and I have a job, I still want to compete in something. So it's really fun to do that. And I really do enjoy competing, especially against guys like the caliber y'all have lined up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and all the personalities that show up that weekend and everything. I mean, it's a blast just to host you guys all out there. I can only imagine being in the competition of it.
Yeah, and I appreciate not putting us in a holding room and doing all that other stuff, because that's where it really gets gut-wrenching. That's where you can really get into your own head.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah. I was telling, I think Neil Beret, I was telling him this year, I said, I'm competing. It's not that nerve-wracking. Sitting in the box, not that nerve-wracking. Waiting to go your first time is not that nerve-wracking, but waiting to get called back for top 10, that's about the most nerve-wracking thing you go through, because you can't win it unless you're in the finals. Mm-hmm. And so not being able to sit there and watch them guys run, guys that I've listened to forever, like Jay Romine and Brian Little. I mean, it's an awesome experience. And last year I brought my family. So, it was really a cool, pretty cool deal. We had to drive all night to get there, but this year I actually get to be there in time for looks like the golf tournament or the drinking tournament, as Mason would say.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember your little boy running around the ring last year. He was the best ring help we had all year.
Oh yeah. He's he won't make it this year. He said he's got a baseball camp at Texas Tech, so he's not going to be with us. But my wife's going to load up and we're going to go down there, and she goes with me. And in fact, she judges those competitions herself. And I don't think I'd make the top 10 if I wasn't married to her, but she's pretty close. She can judge them things pretty good.
She's probably seen a lot of auctioneering through her years with you.
Oh yeah. She's seen a lot. She knows whenever someone's selling or I'm listening to somebody selling, what's he doing? Where's Chuck at? What's Will at? What's Will doing? And I'm like, well, I didn't show you, just heard his chant.
She's on it.
She knows them all. Yeah, she knows them.
That's awesome. Well, Sixto, you want to give us a little example of your rattle before we get out of here?
Yeah, I sure would love to. Whoop here, da 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 140 41, da 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 2 da 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 3 da 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 43 da 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 4. You down 4 da 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 5 da da 45 da da 4 da 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 sold him 144. Put it on Mason, number 1. Put it on the number 1.
Right.
Hold on to those dimes for the competition, I guess.
I got to save them dimes. You know, the coach machine don't take
get
dimes,
anybody
but
going.
we will. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Well, Sixto, thank you so much for pulling over on the side of the road and giving us a little time out of your day.